All right. Hello, everybody. My guest is unable to make it, so I'm going to just go solo for a little bit here. I thought I'd catch everybody up on how things are going. Waiting for Instagram to kick over here. There we go. Perfect. So I am just coming back from, I guess it was 5 days away with the family, which was really nice. We went down to the Jersey Shore to where I have been vacationing since I was a child. And this one was really neat because my great niece ended up being there. So to have all those generations and see the tradition continue is really something that I liked a lot and enjoyed. It is a campground called Ocean View Campground. It's in Ocean View, New Jersey, but it is near Sea Isle City. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with the New Jersey coastline, but that's about 30 to 40 minutes north of the very tip, which is where Cape May is, which is another area that I also love. And so, as I mentioned, we've been camping there since I was a small child. So we started the tradition, and then there was kind of a break, and then we started going back again. We got a little bit older and going back when I had kids, and now my brother's kids are having kids. And so it's just very cool to all be there together. I was not able to unplug as much as I would have liked. Definitely some lessons learned about how I think I could have done things a bit differently to make sure that that didn't happen. As most of you know, something that I really value and think is important is taking time away to make sure that you can just be present with family and for yourself to have that refresh and rejuvenation. I definitely did still get that, and we did have a lot of wonderful times, but I did find myself a bit more plugged in than I had planned on, and am definitely making a note of what things I did or didn't do leading up to the trip that could have helped to alleviate that a little bit, because I think that I want to make sure that that continues to be a priority. In other news, I've had some people that have been friends, either friends or family, that have obviously known me for many, many years, and a lot of people have kind of asked about what's going on. I see all this new stuff on social media. And so I thought, since my guest was unable to be here today, I would kind of take the opportunity to just fill you some of that's in on some of that stuff verbally, as opposed to some of the word posts that I put out. I don't know what that means, but word posts, apparently that means me typing. So for many years, I have been doing consulting. I had been a teacher for many years, and then there were some life circumstances that happened that pivoted me into business consulting, and had not really been part of the plan, but ended up working out really well in terms of combining my love of education and teaching people with my love of also learning new things and really helping people to be the most effective versions of themselves. And throughout all of these pivots that happened over the course of its fairly kind of long and up and down journey of my business consulting and the different companies that I worked with and for and such, I have noticed that one of the patterns was a lot of times, whether it was what I was initially brought in for or not, I ended up helping individuals and organizations to navigate change, whether that was change that they had planned, there was something that they knew that they wanted to implement, or it was something that happened unexpectedly and they needed to figure out what was going to be the best next steps forward. And as a result of that, that kind of became an area, not kind of, I should say, that really became an area of focus for me. And in parallel to that, one of the things that I found to be really effective in the business relationships that I had, whether it was working with somebody individually and coaching them, or going into organizations ranging from corporations to schools to not-for-profits, was this notion of really making sure that we first really tap into and look at what are the different skills that we may not be using that we have that we could use and really maximize, but also with people that are around us, what are the skills that they have and what are ways that we can help to involve them and encourage their skill sets to be the best used, and in terms of collaboration, cooperation, and process efficiency. And one of the reasons that I found I was good at that was this really kind of personality trait that I've had of just loving people and really wanting to see people be successful, and then helping other people to embrace that idea of kindness and love as skill sets. And I do want to clarify, because I talk a lot about kindness and I've done some small posts about it, but kindness as a concept is not, which can be sometimes miscommunicated as being kind, is just being kind of like let people do whatever and you don't respond. And that's not kindness. And there are other people certainly out there that are talking about that as well. You can have boundaries with kindness. You should have boundaries with kindness. Boundaries actually help you to be effectively kind because there are lines between what is and is not okay and appropriate and responsible and respectful behavior on parties of all people that are involved in what we would call, kindness behavior. And so that became a really integral part of what I was doing, is teaching people how to be effectively kind, using kindness as a credential to be successful in navigating change and in tapping into helping people be the best versions of themselves. In other words, by helping them recognize what are the things that they're really good at and how can I build on those, as opposed to sometimes which we do is look at like, well, this person's being successful with this other skill set, so therefore I now think that I have to have that skill set, when really we all have these unique and beautiful gifts that are equally effective. They're just effective in different ways. So you take that, helping people to navigate change, whether it's through project management or program planning or through leadership coaching, workshops, training, and helping people to work well with others by being kind and by being respectful, and how that creates a really meaningful and really motivational culture in companies and in our homes, right? Organization can also be in our family lives and in our communities. And recognize that this was something that while I was doing it with clients, I also really enjoyed talking about it. I would talk about it and standing in line at the grocery store. I would talk about it when I was at gatherings with family and friends, and wanting to be able to do a bit more of that on a wider scope for a variety of reasons. One, that was something that I was really feeling called to. And I also felt that at this particular juncture in my professional and personal life, it really fit well with me thinking about like, how can I go out and start sharing that knowledge in a way that's going to be able to be passed down to other folks, again, individuals and organizations. So really kind of all across the board. And at the same time, knowing that I really wanted to dig into the writing that I've been doing my whole life. And as a result, recognize the need for me to, in order to do that, go back to something that years ago, going back to like 2010, 2011, I had started to do, which was utilize social media. Because for all of the things that we can get caught up on that can sometimes have a negative impact with us or on us with social media, there's a lot of positive stuff. It gives us an opportunity to have a huge audience, right? People will talk about like, I want to be on a stage with a huge audience. Social media is a gigantic audience, ranging in a variety of people who maybe would or would not necessarily come to see you talk on a stage. So there's an opportunity to reach people where they're at, and to form these communities and create change and momentum and put posts out there that can affect people in a positive way. And it also, of course, builds on visibility, which helps you to get some of those other connections in terms of what stages you might get on or clients you could potentially work at. And so, of course, kicking myself a little bit about the fact that if I go back to 12 plus years ago when I had started that and really had thought about utilizing social media in that way, and then had not moved forward. I had started a group Facebook page that's just still out there called Face It Forward, with the intention of using that both as a platform to gain visibility in terms of me being able to get out and do some more of that outreach, but also as a platform where people could talk about either needs that they had or things that they could offer and make those connections. And so while a lot of that has still been part of what's going on in my life, I hadn't utilized social media in that way. I hadn't continued with the going lives and the creating social media content. And even like content that I put on YouTube was really kind of untouched. I hadn't really done a whole lot with it, and decided like time is of the essence. Here it is. Took some time to reflect on what it is that I really wanted to be at the core of my messaging. I joined a mastermind. You guys have heard me talk about Super Connector Mastermind, where I could, be in community with like-minded individuals and really kind of have that accountability. And so used that a lot as a catalyst. And so that's a lot of what you started seeing on social media. So a lot of the business model parts of it isn't really anything that changed. It's just that I started being more visible with talking about it, being more seen and getting that content out there. And as a result of that, have had really incredible results in terms of people reaching out. And some of the awards and things that you saw were because via social media and being more seen, some people reached out, looked into some of the stuff that I was doing in terms of my business work, my paid work, and also some of the charitable and outreach stuff that I was doing. And so that's really been the gift for me via social media, and the reasons why I do say that I think that that's an incredible tool that we can use. right now, what I'm doing, obviously still working with clients, still doing coaching, working with some folks, doing leadership coaching, some career coaching with individuals, some life, I call it life change coaching, right? Kind of, you're either at that spot where you're like, I need something to change. I don't know what it is. I want to figure that out. Or you're like, this is what I need to change. And I want to create the plan through that. Just helping you to become unstuck and really create those actionable steps that you can take. And in that, got my writing out there. As many of you know, I got my poetry book out there, which was really just a really awesome thing. I didn't put a whole lot of time into the launch, which if I had to do over, maybe I would have done a little bit differently. But either way, seeing my book in people's hands, getting messages from people that they were impacted by something I wrote is it's huge, right? And it talks to that little kid in me that always dreamed about doing that. Coming up, as I've talked about, I'm going to be creating a community. The Facebook group portion of the community is going to be free. I want to allow people to be in there, and I'll, create the guidelines around that and have those available for folks. But the community is going to be both on Facebook. That will be a free area where people can support each other and recognize each other for things and really have a place to dialogue about topics that are important to us. But then also I will have a paid community portion that I will be hosting on Skool, Skool, which is a tool that's out there that will allow for calendaring and some other chat stuff that I'm going to find to be really helpful. And via that community, I will be teaching courses. Those courses will also be available to folks who aren't in the community at a fee. I'll be putting some costs out there. And again, this is because in order to have a business model like this, it has to be sustainable. In order to be sustainable, you have to have income. So that's the reason why I'm charging for this stuff. I obviously, in my heart, would love to be able to just include everybody and anyone in a lot of this stuff for free, but it's not sustainable. And I do think, in addition to that, it's really important when people put an investment into some of those things, they tend to put more intention into them. And so that does also help for people to make some of those effective changes. So I will be in the upcoming weeks talking about that launch and what that's going to look like. As part of that community, some of the courses that I will be doing, it will be on some really, across focuses and areas of interest for people, change planning, and how do you look at what are going to be the potential obstacles, what are going to be the things that are going to be most effective in helping me move forward, and putting those pieces together and looking at actual changes and how we can plan those changes and maneuver through those changes and set up support networks that are going to be helpful in making us stick to the changes that we commit to. So I will be doing a change challenge as part of that, where people are going to pick something either that they want to change or that they can dig into where they feel like there's a block or they're feeling stuck, and work through those together. And again, having to do with accountability and action items and making sure that there's movement forward. I'll be teaching some social media tools. One of the big ones that a lot of people have asked about is YouTube. So over the course of the past, I guess it's 7 months now, because it was around December 23rd, I had about in middle of December, I had about 23 followers on YouTube, and realized, or should say subscribers, and realized that that was something that was important to reach a global audience via that platform because of the consumption, so much consumption of video content on there. So I've grown that to over 114,000. Got the silver play button there, which was a huge honor and really something special for my family, because I had watched my kids watch YouTubers get play buttons. So I'm really still focusing on that. A lot more that I can do there with it that I haven't been able to do time-wise, but that I'm going to be concentrating on. And so because I grew that in that YouTube channel all solo, I did all of that work myself, the content creation, the strategy, the analytics, the figuring out what was going to work best. I'm going to do a course on YouTube growth. And part of that will be, you got to figure out what is your goals for it. For me, it was, I really wanted to gain a large subscriber base. And so that's what I'm working towards. Less about getting clients specifically off of YouTube and more about just having an audience so that I could spread that message. And the process I've been using has been really effective. So I would love to share that. So I will be teaching that course. That course will be available to community members at no charge. And then to the public, I'll be offering a fee for that. And then some other social media tools that I use to create content. How do I multi-purpose content? Because I do all of my social media content creation independently, of course, I've had to create processes in place that were going to be effective for me and that were going to feel authentic and genuine, because it's important that my content feel very much like it's my voice. So while I recognize and really do appreciate a lot of really phenomenal AI tools out there, I'm not a big user of those. There are times that I will use them for research, and certainly like I use Canva. Sometimes I'll do like background remover and stuff like that. But I will be teaching the approach that I have used to content creation, the tools that I use, some quick ways that you can do them so that you don't have to necessarily become a Canva expert in order to be able to use things like Canva, and some other tools that I've used. Vista Social is another one. So I'll be talking about some of the social media tools. I will also be talking about some of the strategies that I've used with networking and having conversations. And that networking is really a broad concept. So it can be business networking, where you're going to business events, and how do you look for ways that you can create relationships that are going to be mutually beneficial from a strategic perspective, but also just networking in general. I am somebody who, to be honest, has often felt more comfortable on a stage than in a room socializing, even though I love listening to people and hearing their stories and sharing information. That part is very exciting to me. I do tend to get socially awkward, and it can be exhausting for me at times. And so I've found ways that I could work through that would be really beneficial to what my goals were, and have helped me to overcome some of those social anxiety things that I can go through. So I'm going to be talking about some of that stuff and a whole host of other things that I haven't even mentioned right here. And there will be weekly meetings that I'll be having, and some small group stuff that I'll do. And I will continue to do my one-on-one coaching, because that is a different type of support. And I do want to offer that to people that do want to utilize that. And some client work that I'm doing, because there are some clients that I feel really passionate about their mission, and I want to continue to support that. But what I also really want to make sure that I do is pay attention to the time that's going to be taken from each of these things, and balance it out in such a way that everybody feels like they're getting the amount of time that they expected that they would get. I'm not of the mindset that I'm going to necessarily promise that you're going to hit a certain income amount, or that you're going to get a certain number of new clients. But what I can promise you is you're going to feel loved in the community, that you're going to make great connections, and that we're going to grow together, which I think is, that's the epicness of life, is when we really create mutual impact and we grow together and we spread hope through being respectful and encouraging curiosity and finding out about each other. So it's all very exciting. And other thing I could mention, I have that the companion book to my poetry book that I have been working on, that's going to dig into offering some background information to some of the poems. I do have some short stories that I'm going to finish, and I do have a book that will be very memoir-esque, in the sense that it's going to be anecdotal, not necessarily, from start of life till current place in life, but it's going to be anecdotal and have some stories, a little bit of humor, a little bit of obviously going through some of the difficult circumstances that I encountered throughout my life. All with the hope that, again, it continues to act, that content continues to act as an impetus for conversations and for people offering support and love and kindness to each other. I am immensely grateful for all of the people who have been supportive of me, both online, visibly with comments and things like that, but offline, and really feeding into me with enrichment and support, and telling me about the things that they've noticed and seen throughout the course of my whole life. And because social media has allotted me the opportunity to be connected to people that I've met very early in my life, right? There's people that I'm on social media with that were either family members or friends that I met in, elementary school. And then people that I've met more recently in my life, and having all of those people together and seeing the foundation that creates in terms of getting me over the obstacles that I have had to confront, and in terms of reminding me that, every one person that is impacted in some positive way makes a difference. And so that's why we have the conversations we have. That's why we fight past some of the challenges of social media, because we know that we can be that positive light. I want to share that while I was on vacation, and over the course of the past, months, I should say, but in the midst of all these really amazing and incredible things happening, there's been some pretty profound challenges. I don't want to call them necessarily setbacks, because I think that ultimately, if we lean in with curiosity and we acknowledge people around us, we can continue to move forward. We don't necessarily move backwards, even though sometimes it feels like it. Sometimes we can get a little stuck and not make the momentum we want. But really difficult things that have baffled me, things that have frustrated me, things that have made me truly deeply sad. And as I worked through those things, leading up to the vacation. Then I was on the vacation and I was having to work more than I expected and had some challenges happen, lost my wallet, found my wallet, lost my engagement ring, found my engagement ring. To truly think about how I'm going to take every second to really be mindful of the opportunities that I have to choose the light, choose to be the light, choose to see the light in myself and others, in the situations around us. Not in any naive way where I don't acknowledge that there are really challenging circumstances, but to just keep being a person that seeks the hope even when it feels very difficult. I think I've done a relatively really good job of doing that throughout my life. I do want to acknowledge that. I don't mean to kind of make it sound like I haven't, or that when we have those moments where we do get stuck, it takes away from any of the incredible ways that we've moved forward positively in the past. But I have found myself over the course of the last few weeks a couple times where I was, doing the like, oh man, why? As opposed to like, wow, why? Why did I get to have this? Not why did this happen to me, but why do I get all these wonderful and amazing things? So if you've joined me for any part of this live, this unexpected independent go live, if you're watching this recorded, you just shared this moment with me. And so you are absolutely included in that. I appreciate you being part of my life. I wish the best for you. I wish love for you. I wish you to be love for other people. And I'm looking forward to just the continued growth and opportunities that are coming. I know that you're all going to be there with me, and I can only imagine, and I do have some imaginings in my mind, some visions of what's going to be, what next year will look like. But for now, after I log off this call, this live, I'm going to sit for a few minutes and just be grateful that the opportunity came up, that I posted, that I shared, that there were people that participated in listening to that, and that we're all incredible, amazing people. So thank you very much. Love you all. And I hope you have a great rest of your day and a fantastic weekend. Bye-bye.